What's up, tubes? So, check this out. I have 11 wands going into my next batch. I would have made it 12, but these ones are going to take a little bit to dry. And they're already done, so might as well just get them sold. So, as soon as the 11th wand is done drying, I'll add it to the batch. Right now I got 10 that are practically ready to go. And, my Voldemort wand replica snapped. And now, with this one that I'm making right now, I literally have 8 wands in the collection, yes. The paint's just about done drying, but I resanded it a bit to make it look more, wand-like. I seen it in the video and I was like, no. This would be the wand. I resanded it. And this thing is pretty much almost done drying on the paint. Once it's done drying completely, I'm going to podge the entire thing. And this particular wand glows in the dark. And if you want to make a glow-in-the-dark wand, when you go to paint it, after you sanded it smooth, you want to add a base coat of white, let it dry, and once the white is done drying, add a base coat of glow-in-the-dark spray paint, and if you've done it correctly, you can see it kind of gives it that neon sort of off green, almost looks like, what's it called? Ivory. Yeah, kind of like an ivory sort of green look to it. And the copper handles look really nice. So depending on how well the 11 ones sell, I have enough to do more handles just like this one. So if those 11 sell quick enough, then I can start doing more wands like it. This paint's almost done drying though, but when it's done drying, I'm going to put podge on the whole wand right here. Strangely enough, this wand called to me. I don't know why it did, but it did. So this is now going to be a new wand for my collection. 11 is still a decent enough for a batch of wands. Usually the batch of wands are 10, so one extra won't hurt. And I got them done right quick. I was working on them over the weekend, wanting to get them done as quickly as possible. And now they're done. I'm just waiting for the last one to finish drying on the podge. The last one in the batch has like a spot of podge that's drying. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Now the last wand for the batch, right here, you can see where the podge is still drying. Everywhere else it's pretty much nice and shiny. Yeah. So that one is being placed on the windowsill where the cold air can blow over it and dry faster. But there's already 10 wands that are pretty much dried and ready to be sold. I think this will make a nice addition to my wand collection. And that's the problem with these prop replica wands. They're expensive. They're meant for display. They're not meant to be carried like a real wizard's wand in your belt loop or witch, depending on how you pronounce it, you know. Christianity and witchcraft have one thing in common. There's different branches of it, if you think about it. You know, and, yeah, man. You got your Baptist, your Catholic, your Methodist, your Lutheran, and then you got your Christian. Just like there's different branches of Christianity, there's also different branches of magic. And last night was a bit of an interesting ordeal because as I got up to, because earlier this wand called to me and I was like, I can't, I gotta sell you on Etsy. And then I get up and it screamed. I'm like, all right. I've understand wand lore to a degree now that I know what I'm doing, and it's still going to be a batch of wands. This video is probably going to get a lot of hate. I don't care. Don't care. Let the haters hate. You know what I'm saying? I really don't give a shit. Haters can hate all they want. Those wands that I'm selling on Etsy look good. And, yeah, right there is still kind of sticky, so it's not quite done drying, but it's getting there. I sanded it more on the top and then repainted it. And that's why I deleted the last videos, because I was like, nah, this one could look a little bit better. All the other ones didn't have that problem. Now this tip is pointy, but it's not sharp enough to puncture skin. It's sharp enough that you can tell which end's the wand end and which end's the handle. This is a cool looking wand, man. I'm gonna make a nice addition to the collection. It's almost done drying on the paint. There's a couple spots here and there where it's sticky. But once it's done drying, I'm gonna podge it again. People may be asking, so why did you sand it and then repaint it? Well, to be brutally honest, the end of it right here was looking a bit phallic in nature. I didn't like the way that looked, so I took care of it. And of course, I make sure that none of my wands look like that they actually look like wands and not, you know, yeah. But, yeah, this thing's been drying the last couple of hours. I went to a friend's house and I drank a Mickey's mixed with Monster Green Import. Delicious drink combination. That's a combination that's definitely not for kids. Monster Green Import and Mickey's 40-ounce beer. Half and half. That's pretty good. I drank like half the bottle and then mixed the empty half with a little bit of that green import, and yeah, not too shabby, man. I would have made 12, but right now I got 11 that are almost ready to sell, so it makes more sense right now just to sell the 11 that I have made and get the Etsy store back up and going. And I've been teasing the fans with these copper handles for a minute, and if they sell quickly enough, I can keep doing it. Normally I don't work on the weekends, but I figured it makes sense to get these done as quickly as possible. That way you make that money and make them fans happy. When you want to run a successful business, you got to make sure your product sells, and you want to get it out to your customers as quickly as possible with the best quality that you can produce. That's how you run a business. Plain and simple. And yeah, the paint is just a wee bit sticky, but it's not coming off on my hands, so it's dry enough that I can set it down on my desk just like that. and the paint's not going to come off or anything. I'm going to let it dry a bit more until it's no longer sticky on the paint, because paint dries in different stages. It gets to be wet, semi-wet, semi-dry, sticky but still comes off on your fingers, and then after that stage it gets to sticky, and then when it's just plain sticky, don't mess with it, because then eventually it gets to the point where the paint's no longer sticky and it dries solid. No paint on my fingers. This is a cool looking wand for sure, and it'll make a nice addition to the wand collection of mine. I literally had my Voldemort wand replica in my belt loop, and then I went to a friend's house to hang out, and then I leaned forward forgetting it was in my belt loop, and it snapped. I looked at it and I'm like, son of a bitch. I kept the halves, put it in the box, and stored it away for safekeeping. But meanwhile, I make this one, and I noticed it kind of had a similar look to it as far as the color goes. Not to mention, this bad motherfucker glows in the dark. I'm not bullshitting you. You charge it with light. Yeah. Pardon the French, but... Now when the paint's done drying, I can literally put the podge on it, and when the podge is done drying, it'll be a complete wand. Just didn't quite think of when I made the video last night, like, yeah, maybe, you know, now it doesn't look phallic, and it actually looks good with that fresh paint. I made the tip a little bit more pointy, but not too much more, you know, pointy enough that you can tell which end's which, but not sharp enough to puncture skin, you know. Yeah, this is cool looking. I like the way this turned out. Alrighty then. Let's set this down on some paint cans so that it can continue drying. And then when it's done drying, I'm going to add podge to it to make it shiny on the wand, and it'll seal that paint and protect it. Meaning it's what, the 13th, and I haven't put a new batch up since forever, so no more than 20, no less than 10. That's the number of wands that I put out at one point, and they could vary from the handheld to the quartz crystalled wands that I make, which are more delicate and take a lot longer to make. And you can make them just as solid as you make your handheld wands, but it takes more time. Now, for instance, YouTube, I have this particular quartz crystal wand right here. This is a scepter that I made, and this thing is pretty freaking beast, I'm not gonna lie. This took a minute to make, and this I have as an option, so that way when people say, oh, you offer more than just your handheld wands. Yeah, I also make crystal wands for Etsy. This would be an option that I will be making in my next batch. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have a sample of your work. This took a minute to carve out, I tell you what. But this is a nice example of one of my crystal wands that I make. put you on the QuickTime player, recording the video fresh for YouTube. At one point, I didn't have a working lighter, but now, oh, as I drop it on the desk, now I got one that works. That's how you hustle, YouTube. The paint on that wand is just about done drying. And like I said, as soon as it's done drying, it's going to get the polish treatment that'll make it nice and shiny. And these wands undergo a lot to get where they're at. I mean, the 10 that I have right now that are dried enough will look good. And the 11th one will follow behind, not too much longer. Yeah. You could expect to see those batch of wands up. Those 11 wands will go up for sale on Etsy sometime this week. But till then, I'll catch you cool cobras on the flip side.